Imagine this. You are standing at a government counter, your hands are slightly sweating, and the officer behind the desk looks at you and says, "Sir, I need a valid government-issued ID." You reach into your bag, and the only document you have with you at that very moment is your police clearance certificate. You slide it across the counter with a quiet kind of confidence, and then silence. The officer stares at it. You stare at the officer. And now the biggest question hanging in the air between you and that officer is this: is a police clearance certificate actually a valid ID? Can you use it to prove who you are? And if yes, where, when, and under what exact conditions is it accepted? And if no, why not? And what should you be carrying instead? Because this is not just a simple yes or no answer. This is a layered, nuanced, deeply practical question that millions of people get wrong every single day. And the consequences of getting it wrong can cost you time, money, opportunities, and in some cases, legal standing. So today, we are going to answer this question completely, slowly, clearly, and with real examples, so that by the time this video ends, you will never be confused about this topic again. Let us start from the very beginning, because before we can answer whether police clearance is a valid ID, we need to understand what it actually is. A police clearance certificate, sometimes called a PCC, or a good conduct certificate, or a criminal record certificate, depending on which country you live in, is an official document issued by the police or law enforcement authority of your area. Its entire purpose is to certify one single thing: that as of the date of issuance, you have no recorded criminal history, no pending criminal cases, and no police record that would flag you as a person of concern. Think of it as a character certificate from the police. It is the government's law enforcement body saying in writing, "We checked our records, this person is clean." Now, this document is used in many serious situations. When you apply for a job, especially government jobs, sensitive private sector positions, or jobs that involve working with children or vulnerable populations, your employer will ask for your police clearance to verify that you are not a criminal. When you apply for a visa to travel abroad, many embassies and immigration departments require a police clearance from your home country as part of your application. When you're applying for citizenship in another country, or permanent residency, or even a work permit in certain regions, you will need this document. In Pakistan specifically, the Federal Investigation Agency, known as the FIA, issues police clearance certificates. Your local police station issues a local police character certificate. Both serve slightly different purposes, but carry the same core message: this person has a clean record. Now, here's the important point. Notice what police clearance tells you. It tells you about someone's criminal history. It does not primarily tell you who that person is. And that distinction, the distinction between a character document and an identity document, is the entire key to understanding everything else in this video. Now, let us talk about what a valid ID actually is. Because not every document is an ID, and not every ID is equally valid in every situation. A valid identification document, a true ID, does three things simultaneously. First, it confirms your identity. It tells the world your full legal name, your date of birth, your physical description, and it has your photograph so that a person looking at the document can visually match it to the person holding it. Second, it is issued by an official government authority specifically for the purpose of identification, not as a byproduct of some other process. Third, it contains security features, holograms, serial numbers, barcodes, microprint, or biometric data that make it difficult to forge and easy to verify. Think about the documents in your life that function as true IDs. Your national identity card, your CNIC in Pakistan, is a true ID. It has your name, your CNIC number, your photograph, your date of birth, your thumbprint, and it was issued by NADRA specifically to identify you as a citizen. Your passport is a true ID. Your driving license is a true ID. Your B form, if you're a minor, is a true ID. Each of these documents was designed from the ground up with identification as its primary purpose. Now compare that to a police clearance certificate. A police clearance has your name on it, yes. It may have your photograph in some versions. It was issued by an official government body, yes. But its primary purpose was never to identify you. Its primary purpose was to certify your conduct, your character, your criminal record status. The identification elements, the name, the photo, are there to link the certificate to you, but they are secondary features, not the core function of the document. So now we arrive at the core question: can you use a police clearance as a valid ID? And here's the honest, careful answer. It depends entirely on where you are trying to use it, who is asking for it, and what that institution's specific rules and regulations say about acceptable identification. Let me break this down with real, concrete examples so this is perfectly clear. In most formal government transactions, applying for a bank account, registering a property, filing a court document, enrolling in an official government service, police clearance is almost never accepted as a primary, standalone valid ID. A bank, for example, has regulatory requirements. If you go to open an account at Mizan Bank, HBL, or any other bank in Pakistan, they will ask you for your CNIC. That's a hard requirement set by the State Bank of Pakistan. You cannot substitute your police clearance for your CNIC. It will simply not be accepted. If you go to a government office to apply for a service and they ask for your ID, they mean your CNIC, your passport, or your driving license. Your police clearance will not fulfill that requirement because the system, whether a manual process or a digital one, is designed to work with those specific identity documents. However, and this is an important however, there are situations where police clearance acts as a supporting identity document, not a standalone one. For example, when you apply for a visa, the embassy may ask you to submit your passport, your application form, your photographs, and your police clearance. In that context, the police clearance is not functioning as your ID. Your passport is your ID. The police clearance is supporting evidence of your character. Similarly, when you apply for certain jobs, your employer asks your CNIC as identity and your police clearance as conduct verification. They serve two separate roles together. Now, there are some informal or semi-formal situations where police clearance might be accepted as supporting proof of identity. A landlord might accept it as one of many documents when you're renting a property, especially combined with other papers. An employer doing an internal verification might note your name from it. But these are informal acceptances, not legal or regulatory ones. They depend entirely on the discretion of the individual or institution.
Let us now look at how this plays out in specific contexts because rules vary significantly. In Pakistan, the CNIC is the gold standard of identification. It is used for everything: voting, banking, SIM registration, passport applications, property registration, tax filing, and more. No other document replaces it for identification purposes. Your police clearance, whether from your local police station or from the FIA, is a character document. It will be asked for in job applications, especially for government employment and for visa purposes, but it will not replace your CNIC as a valid ID. In the United Kingdom, there is no single mandatory national ID card, so people use a broader range of documents. However, even in the UK, a DBS certificate, which is their version of police clearance, is a disclosure document, not an ID. The UK government explicitly states that a DBS certificate is not proof of identity. In the United States, similarly, an FBI background check or a state-level criminal background check is never considered a valid government-issued ID. It is a background clearance document. In the Philippines, the National Police Clearance is commonly confused with an ID because it carries a photograph, a QR code, and detailed personal information. While some institutions may accept it as a secondary ID, it is not classified as a primary valid government-issued ID by the Philippine Statistics Authority. The primary IDs there are the PhilSys National ID, passport, driver's license, and similar documents. The pattern is consistent across countries. Police clearance is a conduct document, not an identity document, and it is rarely, if ever, accepted as a standalone valid ID for formal purposes. You might be wondering, why does this distinction even matter so much? Why cannot a document with my name, my photo, and my government signature just count as an ID? Here's why it matters deeply. Identity documents are issued through a process specifically designed to verify identity. When NADRA issues your CNIC, they verify your biometrics, they check your birth records, they confirm your parentage, they enter you into a national database. That entire process is designed around the question, who is this person? When the police issue your clearance certificate, they check one thing. Does this person have a criminal record in our database? They are answering a completely different question. The rigorousness of identity verification behind a police clearance is simply not at the same level as a true identity document. This is why, if someone forges your name on a police clearance to impersonate you, it is a serious crime, but it also highlights the risk. Police clearances do not have the same multi-layer security architecture as true identity documents. Banks, courts, government agencies, and embassies need certainty. They need to know with the highest possible confidence that you are who you say you are. A police clearance, as valuable as it is, does not provide that level of assurance on its own. So, what should you carry? What documents should you always have available when identity verification is required? If you live in Pakistan, your CNIC is your most important document. Keep it updated, keep a photocopy with you, and never rely on any other document to replace it for identification purposes. Your passport is your strongest international identity document. Your driving license is widely accepted in many situations as a supplementary ID. These are your identity tools. Your police clearance is your conduct tool. It speaks to your character, not your identity. Use each document for its intended purpose, and you will never face that awkward moment at the counter again. Here's what I want you to take away from everything we discussed today. Documents exist for reasons. Every piece of paper your government issued was designed to answer a specific question. Your CNIC answers, who are you? Your police clearance answers, are you a person of good conduct? These are both important questions, but they are not the same question, and the documents are not interchangeable. The mistake most people make is assuming that because a document has their name and photo on it, it functions as an ID anywhere and everywhere. That assumption can delay your visa application, get your bank account registration rejected, or cause you to fail a formal verification process. Knowledge is the most practical tool you can carry. Now, you carry it. If this video helped you understand something that you were confused about before, share it with someone who needs to know. Subscribe if you want more deeply explained, clearly delivered, practical knowledge like this. And remember, the right document in the right place at the right time, that is the difference between getting things done and getting sent home to start over.